and we're gonna get our house in order. So this way, we don't have to be complaining the whole year that we don't have money or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a special guest joining us tonight, and he has a lot of information that he wants to share with us. We have Mr. Michael Warren from New Jersey, and he's a financial advisor from the Bryant Wealth Group. And he's going to come and tell us all the things that we need to know to get our house in order. He's married with two beautiful children. So we want to welcome him to the show tonight, Mr. Michael Warren.
Welcome.
Ah, we
Well,
need you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming on and joining us and helping us kick off the new year to
Yeah,
help us get our financials straight so we don't have to be complaining the whole year that we are broke.
I don't want to be broke this year.
absolutely, absolutely.
And we always hear people talk about, when something happened, they don't, particularly when they pass away, they don't have money to bury themselves. They put the pressure on the family to have to do this. And, we want people to understand that it doesn't take a lot of money to have a policy to take care of different things that's going on in your life, not only just death, but with anything. But we want to start with like, what would you tell people why it's so important that they really should have some kind of life insurance policy?
That's a great question, Mrs. Shannon. And what I would say, the reason why life insurance is so important is because if you have a family, okay, and your family is depending on you, okay, and God forbid something happens to you, whether you're at work or you're on vacation, and you don't have a life insurance policy, then your family is going to suffer. Okay. A lot of times, especially within our community, we always see the family starting over again. Okay. And what most people believe is that life insurance is just for burial. Okay. That's only part of it. All right. Life insurance is also used to either catapult the family to the next level,
Right.
also to keep them afloat as well. If you look at our Caucasian counterparts, a lot of times they use life insurance to build wealth because whether you like it or not, we are all going to pass away.
Yes.
Okay, and because we're all going to pass away, it it shouldn't be a bad thing to get paid for.
Hmm.
Okay, all right, especially your family. And a lot of times, what I see is a lot of GoFundMe's, things of that nature, and those are not life insurance policies. All right. The worst thing that you can do is leave your family in a rut, okay, when you pass away. All right. If you don't leave them something, they are going to suffer. All right. You should be an asset to your family when you pass away, not a liability.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, what type of insurance policies would you recommend? Because there's whole term, I think that's what you call it, and there's a term policy, and people get kind of confused, which one to go with.
Yeah, that's a great question, Tiffany. So there's normally two types of policies that you could buy. The first one is what we call cash value, and the other one is called term. Okay.
Mm.
With cash value life insurance, it's a combination of universal life, whole life, variable life insurance. Okay. And normally with universal or whole life or variable life insurance, which is called cash value, a lot of times those are more expensive policies. Okay, they tend to be more expensive. Also, too, a lot of times they are really high in fees as well too. And a lot of times with those policies, the savings or cash value that you build up in those policies, a lot of times you normally don't get that when the person passes away because there's normally in a cash value policy, there's an option A and an option B. Okay. Option A means that you get the death benefit and the money when the person passes away. Uh, Option B means you only get the money or the life insurance itself. Now, when we talk about Term insurance. Term insurance is the cheapest form of life insurance that you can buy for the most amount of coverage. Okay.
So when you say cheapest amount, like what would you? How much could you get a policy for, and approximately how much you think it would cost? Particularly with someone saying, "Okay, well, I can't afford a life insurance policy."
Good question. So, with life insurance policies, you can get a policy for $40. All right. But here's what you have to realize about life insurance. Life insurance is not something you buy. It is something you qualify for. And the way you qualify for life insurance is through your age and your health. So depending on how old you are, and depending on how bad or good your health is, will determine the amount of insurance that you can get. Now, what I normally do as a financial professional is, let's just say the worst case scenario. All right, a person doesn't qualify for any life insurance. No life insurance company will not give them anything, and basically they're just out there on their own. What I normally do is I sit with them, okay, and we will actually call up a funeral parlor and open up a trust with the funeral parlor. And
Mhm.
basically what that is you say, hey, listen, you tell the funeral director what your budget is, and he say, based off your budget, this is what we can do. Okay. And they'll say, all right, if you got a $5,000 budget, he'll make sure he can give you everything within that $5,000. And what they'll do is they'll give you a payment plan to where you can just pay it each month until the whole funeral cost is paid off, and you don't have to worry about any of those things after that.
Is this after the funeral you talking about, or you talking about going and set it up before something
Before
happens?
you have to go,
Before,
Oh, go.
yeah, yeah,
you
you
gone
got to go
already.
before.
You can't go. You can't go after.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it before.
Well, see, the thing about that, okay, then, so if you go in before, right, and you set it up, and you say, okay, $5,000 to bury, and then they set everything up. But I mean, you
Mhm.
might live another 5 or 10 years, right? And so now the prices have gone up. So now what happens then?
Well,
You just
so
have
that's
to.
why it's a trust. So everything is set up. That the price and whatever the amount is all set.
It's
So
already agreed. Okay.
it's a contract
Contract.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they
it's a
must provide
contract.
for that. Okay.
Yes, it's a contract between you and the funeral home. Okay, and they
Right,
say,
but that's what I'm
okay,
saying, because see, you say you had the $5,000, you already picked out the casket and stuff, and you know how expensive caskets are now. So what I'm
yeah.
saying is, so if you got to stay right in that mean, okay, so you might end up being put in a pine box by then. Shoot, we don't know, because
Well,
if
no, you pick it out. You pick it out. You pick everything out that you want.
oh, so
Okay,
they have to keep whatever you picked out, regardless if their price went up or not.
yeah, the type of style casket that you pick out. Okay, and here's the thing: all funeral parlors, they're not created equal. So again, the negotiations between the type of caskets, they may say, hey, listen, you'll be able to pick from these types of caskets that we carry.
Okay.
Okay, all right, and based off when it happens, when you pass away, you'll get either one of these
Hmm.
based off the amount of money that you want to pay.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's how you set it up. And like
Oh,
I
That's
okay.
good
said,
to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything is
Mm.
set up.
Oh,
And
that's
like I
that's
said,
that's good then.
Yeah.
But that's good for,
I
yeah.
never
So
even heard
that's a
of
good
that.
idea. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
idea
yeah.
to say. But earlier you had said about how they you have to qualify for some of the insurance that you take out and stuff, and
Correct.
stuff like that. Because sometimes they discriminate against you, right? Because I was taking out a I was taking out a policy for long term care, right?
Mhm.
And so they discriminated on me because they said I was too fat, so they wouldn't give me the policy.
Well,
They
they
would
tried to charge me an extra $5 for being. They said I was overweight.
They said I was too fat, right? And so they disqualified. They wouldn't give me the insurance policy. So I said to
Oh,
them, I said, well, I'm going to sue you for discrimination then because I have never heard of that before. That you didn't get a policy just because you were overweight
But they
or
have a
something like
certain
that.
weight thing, which is weird. Because I mean, I'm not overweight, but to them, they're saying I'm overweight, which made no sense. I didn't get it.
so you didn't get it
I
either,
got it,
Auntie?
but they charged me an extra $5 for extra
Hmm.
$5 saying
I've never
I
heard of
was
that before.
over, the weight category.
Is that true? Is that true? They can do that?
Well, they do have, so every life insurance company has guidelines, okay? And if you want a particular amount of life insurance, okay, if you are based off your height, they have a specific amount of weight that you can be. And if you are over that weight, then what they call it is rating the policy. That means your policy got rated and you have to pay an extra premium in addition to what they quoted you off of.
Oh, got
Okay.
it.
And
Okay.
see this, and this is why a lot of times when you get a life insurance policy, you see the ads, come in, you can get a life insurance policy. We're not going to ask no questions. We're going
Right.
to quote you, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
But what people don't realize is that um, you still got to go through an underwriting process. That's just basically just to reel you in.
Get you in the door.
Okay. All right, get you in the door. And once they get you in the door, they're going to say, hey, listen, by the way, okay, based
Hmm.
off your health, we did some research, okay? Um, this is how much this policy is going to be, and here's why. All
Hmm.
Oh,
right. And that's what you
okay.
got to realize.
Okay, then. So at least now we know we can get a policy. It don't have to cost you a lot of money,
Hmm.
and
And
you
other
still
options.
you have other
Yes,
options of making sure you have some kind of life insurance policy. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about some other investments. We'll be right back.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's Shannon. Oh yeah, it's Shannon. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, on Facebook, YouTube. It's on tonight. It's Prime for 30 minutes. Join the chat. Hot topics, movers, shakers. How about that? Smart, outspoken. Don't miss a beat. It's true. Keeping it real with Shannon tonight. The hottest show in the city lights. It's Shannon. Oh yeah. It's Shannon. Keeping it real.
Hello and welcome back. It's a new year, a new day, and we're trying to get our financial house in order. Before we was talking about some life insurance policies, but we want to get into also investments because we want to be able to make some money this year. So I don't have to hear my co-host crying broke the whole
Yeah,
year.
I'm still alive. I'm not dead yet, so I need money.
So what kind? So what are some of the investments that it's like because you don't have to have a lot of money to invest in some annuities and other investment. So for people like us that don't like me, I can only talk for myself that we may not have a lot of money but we want to invest in something so we'll have something to look forward to if you want to do something or save for the future.
Yes.
So you just have some money.
Yes. So when it comes to investing, I think everybody should open up a Roth IRA. Okay. And here's why. The reason why I believe everybody should open up a Roth IRA is because it is the only way an individual can put money in an investment vehicle, okay, over a certain amount of time. And once they have met all the criteria, they can pull all of that money out, even the interest, without having to pay any taxes.
Mm,
Okay. There's
okay.
no other vehicle that you can do that in. Okay. And the cool thing about Roth IRAs, you can start them for as little as $25 a month. So you don't have to have a whole lot of money to start a Roth IRA. All right. And Roth IRAs are so beneficial because, just like I said, when once you're able to take out your money, you can take all the money out tax free. All right. Also, to the money that you put into a Roth IRA, which are your contributions, you can take out anytime you want to. Okay. The third thing is that there are no required minimum distributions. So meaning that if you have a 401k, you have to start taking your money out by age 72. You have to. Because if
Mm,
you don't, the government is going to tax you. But with the Roth IRA, you can keep your money in as long as you want. And then the last thing, or the last reason to have a Roth IRA, is because of estate planning. So when you pass away, okay, the
mhm,
money that you have saved tax free, okay, you will be able to pass that down to your beneficiaries tax free as well. That is one of the biggest reasons to have a Roth IRA, and most people don't know that.
Can you
oh,
can you, when you put the money in there, are you in choosing your investment, or is it just an account that automatically invests in whatever it is that that
Good,
company invests in?
great question. So when it comes to the investments in there, you have to actually choose the investments that you want in, and
okay.
that's why you want to sit with a financial professional advisor, whatever you want to call them, so they can actually tailor it towards your investment style.
Mhm,
Okay, because a person that is 50 years old has a totally different investment style to somebody that is 25 years old.
mhm,
Okay, so it all depends on what you're trying to do and what your goal is for the money. All
mhm.
right.
So when you set up, okay, so when you set up something like that, the Roth account, and then you said that once you sit with the financial advisor and they tell you, which companies that you should, put it. Is this like playing the stock market? You know,
Yes. Yes.
so this
Yes.
is
This
like
is
playing the stock market. So because we would have to know how the stock market is going. So if we need to go in there and take some money from that company to put it in another company because we don't want to lose our money or whatever.
good question. So here's the thing, to help you not worry about those types of problems. What you want to do is invest in a mutual fund. Okay. And the reason why you want to invest in a mutual fund, because it does all the work for you. You don't it because basically with a mutual fund, sometimes you'll have anywhere from 100 to 200 up to 500 different stocks and bonds in one mutual fund. Okay.
Mhm,
But what does that do? What that does, it diversifies your investment. So you're not just invested into one thing. So you're not going crazy. So for example, if I'm on an elevator, okay, and the elevator that I'm on has one string, all right, something happens to that string, I'm done. But if Tiffany's on an elevator and her elevator has four strings, and just one of the strings pop, she still has three other strings holding her up. Okay.
okay.
That's how diversification works. All right. Your money is spread out amongst different investments So just in case one investment goes down, you still have the other ones there to pick you back up.
Mhm.
Is that
So
a good something to use for retirement? Because we have, companies have the 401ks and stuff, but I'm finding that you're not really making a lot out of the 401k. And by the time we hit retirement, it's going to be really nothing in there. Yesterday's
And
price is not today's price.
and
I
you're not getting
agree.
into Social Security.
Oh, well, that
It's
too.
yes, you know what, and this is one of the biggest problems, and I believe most people don't like 401ks is because they are not informed on how to invest in them.
Hmm.
Okay, I mean, think about it. If you have a person that never looked at an investment, okay, and you telling them, hey, listen, go in and pick some investments for your retirement, the way they pick their investments is eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Mhm.
Okay. This is why, again, it is very important that you sit down with a financial professional
That's
so
it.
they can tailor that, so they know, hey, listen, these investments are good, you shouldn't pick this. And here's one thing I also say about 401ks. A lot of times when companies have different investments, um, that you can pick and choose from. A lot of those investments that they have aren't the best ones. And it's like that because a lot of times they know people don't know what they're picking. So
Mhm.
what companies do, they'll say, hey, listen, we'll put some regular investments in there, especially new ones, all right,
Right.
because they know people just gonna pick it. All right. But in those investments that you're able to pick from, they'll also have some gems in there. You just got to know which ones to pick.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's not hard at all. All right.
Mhm.
There's just a few things, a criteria that I normally teach my clients to go by when they're picking investments so they know exactly which ones to pick for the best for them.
Now, also too about the stocks. When I was working, I used to work with the lady. Her daughter was married to Sassoon, the one that the famous hair stylish person that sells the conditioner and shampoo and all that kind of stuff. And she should always tell me, go and buy up stock from everything that you deal with, like your sneakers, all of them, Pepsi Cola, Carnage. She said buy stock in all of those different places and companies and stuff, because you could back then you could buy stock for like $10, $12 or whatever. And I also, the guy that where I go visit his store, he does that as well, because he was showing it to me, where he has purchased stock in all of these different companies that he deal with, everyday life stuff. Like I was saying, just your sneakers, your Carnage, all of them. Apple, he bought stock in all of them. Is that good to do as well?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad way to invest, and here's the reason why. Because normally the stuff that you wear every day is normally what most other people probably wear as well too. So
Hmm.
if most other people are probably wearing it, that means they're buying it from the companies, which is what raising their stock price. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's why that is not a bad strategy to have. Okay, but when it comes to, again, it all comes down to, why are you investing? Okay, are you investing just to have, just for play money, or are you investing for retirement? If you're investing for retirement, we got to use a lot more than just something like that. You want to take a little bit more calculated risk when we're talking about retirement. But when it comes to you just putting money in the market, just seeing what's going to happen, that's not a bad way to do it, unless you know some other means as
Right.
far
Can you
as
create
taking it.
general wealth through the market, you think?
To me, it's the only way to create generational wealth unless you have a business. Okay, what most when people tell me they can't afford to invest, I normally tell them you can't afford not to invest. And
Hmm.
here's the reason why. When it comes to banks, okay, the inflation rate with banks, or well, just in general, the inflation rate is about 3% or a little bit
Right.
more now. Okay. If you just have your money in a bank, you're getting less than 1%. Okay. So what does that mean? That means you have to pay more for everything that you buy. Okay. Why? Because now so because your money isn't growing at inflation or above, that
Right.
means you are losing money because inflation is eating your money up. And the way it's eating your money up is that you have to pay more for the same products.
You right about that because I didn't understand that myself. Look, I got my statement from the bank, and it had 2%, 2 cent on their interest. Right? I thought it was
Yes.
some kind of mistake because I was like 2 cent. How could you get 2 cent in your money in the bank? So I called the bank and I want to know, was this a mistake? Is this an error or something like that? And it was
Yeah.
like,
Well,
no,
Yes.
miss, that's
Yes.
what I said. 2 cent?
yeah.
Are you for real?
Unfortunately, banks are robbing us. But you know
Yeah.
what?
Exactly.
I'm
That's why
so
you got to get your money out of the bank and just go put it in something. And if it ain't nothing but a CD or something, and not let them have your money like that, because that's ridiculous. You have
that's
money in the bank,
true.
and this is all you get.
That's
Yeah.
true. Well, Mike,
100.
I'm so glad that you were able to come on and give us all this wealth of information. And I hope that I won't be broke this year.
Absolutely.
And anybody who is looking for a financial advisor, please reach out to Mike Warren.
He's the best. He's the best.
Thank
So
you
I
so
know
much,
I won't be
man.
broke this year. Okay. I'll be calling you to get my little money out of the bank so I can invest it in something because they're not going to take my money and use it for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you guys
So,
so much.
well, thank you again. And we hope you will come back and join us again because we didn't even get to talking about the wills and trust. So you have to come back and talk about that. So we want to
Yes.
thank you for joining us this evening. And as always, we'll see you next time.